So if anybody's ever watched your comedy, the way that I found your comedy was that you, before almost everybody else, was putting subtitles on your Instagram or your Facebook videos, whatever that was. And it made it like, I was like, I can pretend like I'm working and really just be reading comedy. But like the comedian that I think of as you take random dots that seem random to other people and you're always connecting them in these like funny, novel ways. So it makes total sense to me that you would be able to take like 3 symptoms and figure out like how they're connected in a different way. I guess I'm kind of hung up on your idea, and I don't know anything about your financial position, that you don't have a role here, because I deeply think that human beings don't even want to know what they think. They want to know, what do other people think that I can follow behind. There's a philosopher named Rene Girard who talks about the role of the comedian being the person that allows you to go from one way of thinking to another way of thinking. And without somebody that's guiding that jump, people won't make it.
I agree. And I think that's why people love late night. I think that's why John Oliver is so successful, or, you know, The Daily Show. And I have a lot of political comic friends. I'm not that political myself. I agree. It is, even before I started doing stand-up, it's life-changing, and I still enjoy watching it. And I have friends that like will blow my mind with their comedy. I think for me, I'm not saying we don't have value, because I do think we do. I just think it's going to be a huge shift in what we enjoyed about comedy and the reason we got into it, and how people take in comedy and how they go about it. The need for comedy and the desire for comedy is huge. That has not gone away. But how we want to perceive it. So here's a good example. Almost immediately, I started getting asked to do private corporate Zoom shows. Grateful. Money, thank you. I'm very grateful. They are hard, and I don't enjoy them. We're talking about me performing in my bedroom. We're talking about sometimes everybody is muted or they're not muted, and you have somebody vacuum cleaning and somebody yelling at their dog, and then somebody being like, I didn't get that. And you can hear them saying that, like almost whispering in your ear that they don't understand you. You're like, cool, I'm bombing in the saddest way possible right now. So it's like, it's distracting. It's unenjoyable. It's a different type of connection. Also, most of them are muted because of all those distractions. So now, even when it goes well, it feels like bombing. And then also, I'm a perfectionist. Like, I'm having people watch a joke. Like, I have this 5-minute joke about ghosts. I wrote it, I think in like January, and it just started to get polished and finished in February. And like, that's my favorite time, by the way. I have an idea. I start working on it. It's not going well, but I see the potential. And then each week it just gets stronger and stronger, to the point where I have a 5-minute joke about ghosts that's like bam, 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 bam. Like, it's my favorite feeling. And I've done that joke perfectly, where like every line I've written gets a laugh. And then now I'm performing it on Zoom shows, and it's almost like every time I perform it, I lose confidence in it. Like, and they're also seeing it in its shittiest form. Like, I want people to see that joke. Like, if I was going to invite my favorite person, like just a celebrity or like somebody I look up to come see me do comedy, the first time they see comedy, I want them to see me at like New York Comedy Club, packed on a Saturday night, when I'm just in the groove. Like, when I'm like, everything I say just hits people and people get me. I don't want them to see me alone in their room with no influence, no alcohol, at 4:00 on a Friday. As I'm not saying my jokes don't make people laugh without laughter and without the influence of other people, but it feels so much better and it hits you in a different way. That's the reason, like, I never really liked concerts. I have a lot of social anxiety. I don't like being touched. I don't fucking like I don't like not having control. So weirdly enough, I don't like crowds. I don't like concerts. But when somebody says they love the group think and everybody's like vibing and maybe they're all on drugs and they're all like, you feel like a unit. I get that. Like, I don't care about sports. I was in Spain doing a tour, and I went to like a Real Madrid soccer game with a friend of mine who lives there. fucking awesome. Could not care.
It's like your brain just explodes with
Dude,
energy.
it was so cool. Don't care about soccer. I'm not a big drinker, but like, it's just people singing and they're cheering and you're like, what a cool experience. And that's how I feel about comedy. Like a lot of times you watch somebody and you go, oh, that joke was so funny. And she was great. And I really enjoyed that. And that's crazy what she said. But really it's like, it's not just me. It's all of us together being like you said before, like, oh, dude, they all enjoyed that. This person made everybody with her mind enjoy that thought. And a lot of mine, I'm really dark. Like I just lost a bunch of fans on Instagram for telling a dead grandmother joke. And it's funny, I had people comment and they literally were like, unfollow. And I was like, that's fine. I was like, you know, I don't want to hurt people with my comedy, but at the same time, I heal by saying fucked up stuff. Like that's what I do.
So as you were talking, like I've done 50 some odd interviews and no one has touched me in this way. Like I feel almost to the point of like, you know, crying almost because it's, and I think there's something really important that you're hitting on here because I know the feeling. So I go out and give talks and I need a couple of laughs to make sure that everybody in the audience is still a cohesive group. But my point is like, I'm trying to drop an idea. I want them to think about things differently. And I don't do it necessarily through comedy, but I know that feeling of putting something out there and getting nothing in return. I mean, you could be standing and doing comedy. I mean, somebody could say, well, why don't you practice in front of your mirror? Well, it's because you can't. Like the entire thing is the relationship between me and other people. And if the other people can't communicate, and really a lot of it is the other people communicating with each other about what I'm saying. And so this is like, I think you're dead on with your assessment of it.